Hey, what's going on, dudes? Y'all knew I had to come back with a recap on this particular flight. Uh, but we're not gonna drag it out too much. We're gonna go ahead and play it out and let you guys see the full OSD of what the plane actually was doing during that most recent flight, the 100-mile-per-hour flight. And we're gonna go ahead and get it started rolling now. First off, I'm super happy my auto launch settings worked this time. It took a couple times tweaking those settings to get it to where it did exactly what you just seen. It torque rolled, but I now was able to compensate and catch it, and I did not have to cancel out auto launch. And that's huge. That is absolutely huge, and that's going to help myself, of course, and a lot of other people wanting this plane because the plane does have a tendency to want to torque roll on launch. And I myself, I've seen some other guys launch at lower throttles and stuff, but it's still a torque roll either way it went, kind of, depending on the throttle. It just does, and I think that's going to be one of the biggest issues that most people are going to have with this plane. Um, you gotta be ready for that torque roll. If you got iNav and auto launch set up correctly, as you've seen, it's not going to do that. But if you don't set up iNav correctly, you'll be like the rest of the guys, and like I was at first. As soon as you flip the switch, you'll have to. Well, as soon as you launch it, you'll have to end up canceling auto launch to correct it to level itself out. And that's fine because I got it down to where it was doing what I called a soft torque roll. It wasn't doing like a full rotation or nothing. It was slightly bank over, and it was still tracking up and out. Believe it or not, sometimes. But anyway, the new settings work, and that's all good. But anywho, as you can see, the plane. Again, I love the plane. I have no issues with it, no complaints at all. But here we go. I was trying the first little roll taste, well, first rate test, seeing how fast the race was going to do. And for me, that particular speed it is rotating is plenty, absolutely plenty. As I mentioned in the other video, um, the pitch I do need to crank that up a couple of notches. I think not a whole lot, not a whole lot at all. But either way it go, I'm happy with it, and everything flies well. But here we go here with this full, uh, well, not full knocker, but this high speed run I did here. I think I was give or take 83 or so percent throttle, running 100 miles per hour, flat out with this plane. But as far as flying around in acro mode at the higher speeds, it's fine. It's totally fine. And the plane responds well to it. It does have that locked in feel to it. Like I said, it's the best way I can describe this plane is like flying a EDF jet. It really is. There's so much throttle on tap. The speed, the way it feels is awesome. But as you guys can see, I'm pulling 30 amps and the battery just sitting stable. 14.3, 14.4 is solid. Yeah, here it is coming up when I switch over to cruise mode, and I just cranked the throttle just to see if iNav could handle that kind of speed. And again, I have not done auto tune or any of that stuff. I'm basically running off of the default PIDs in iNav, so I'm sure with some tweaking with iNav could get all that resolved. But again, that horizon drift is keeping the plane from flying straight at some higher speeds like that. But for a cruise flight, iNav does perfect. It keeps the plane flying straight and locked in, as you guys seen in some of the previous videos that I've done. It's amazing. 64 miles per hour, 10 amps. And that is coming to an end for bringing it in for a landing. Ended the flight pretty quick because I literally sat out there and waited for the rain to stop for me to be able to do this flight. And I knew I only had just a small window to be able to fly this thing, and I wasn't going to take any chances. I was able to do what I wanted to do with it and get the data I needed and call it a wrap. But I did come in a little bit hot. I could have most definitely slowed it down a lot more, but everything is all well. And there's my friction fit camera mount. Every time I land, it pops out. The camera landed, the plane itself landed flat. That's just the camera mount that I made. It's a friction fit. It holds it in there tight, good enough to do loops and rolls and all that stuff with it. But the slight bump when it hits the ground for a landing, every time it ejects it out. But anyway, as you guys can see, we're at 586 watts on full power. Average efficiency this time, yeah, most definitely we're off 238 milliamps per mile. But again, that's we're flying at 80% throttle majority of that flight. Anyway, all right, hope you dudes enjoyed it. If you have any questions, peace and love. And next flight, I will most definitely go back to what I normally do. We're gonna stretch this bad boy out with the Lion pack and just do a higher speed cruise flight, and we're gonna stretch this dude out and see how it handles, which I already know the results gonna be good. All right, dude, peace and love. We out.